Well, my journey, I was born in the 1980s in South Sudan, which is now separate countries, used to be part of Sudan. But it was during the Civil War. My country was breaking into a dark times. And that war displaced so many people. Millions of people died. 98% of South Sudanese lost somebody, sister, brother, uncle. And into my family, it reached the core of our family. So my mother died during the war. The aunties that were close to me were taken by that war. Some died of diseases, some I don't know how they died. Some were poisoned because they used to poison the wells or drop certain bombs that kill people, where if it doesn't hurt you, but where the bombs drop, when people pass there, they get, maybe we could call it chemical, but I don't know what it is, but those bombs used to make people sick later and they die. And all my uncles passed away during that time. And by the age of 7, my father told me I'm going to go to school in Ethiopia, where we had to walk hundreds and hundreds of miles. And there I got trained and I became a child soldier. So my early childhood had so many ups and downs, so many challenges, a lot of difficult challenges that I faced as a kid. Then I would say I lived in hell. It never ended. I ran from one place to the other and thinking the problems have gone, but they followed me everywhere I go. And it's like those problems come with a compound interest, the one that you haven't solved, your psychological, your emotional, missing your family, then you're in another place. One thing I notice is when you're in danger in that moment, the challenges that you're facing before disappear, and the problem that you're facing at that moment, the challenge that is happening then, is what dominates the moment. And you survive it. By the time you're breathing and you're feeling you're fine, then all the problems shows up at the same time. And then another problem shows. It's just a swings of emotions, ups and downs. And one of my survival journey, I met a British aid worker called Emma McCune. And she smuggled me into Kenya. And then also she later died. But in that process, that's when music gave my life a different meaning. And I became a recording artist and got a global, international attention. And now I'm touring the world. You never know, like, where the future of a person is. And learning from these processes, embrace your journey. My privilege right now is my journey, is my story, is every challenge I've experienced as a kid. And looking at it is you become stronger through every challenge that comes. And I look at it, the greatest gift the universe or God can ever give you is a problem. Once you can solve it, you get another problem. One of the things that I do with young people mostly is to share my experiences, my purpose, which has been one of the things that give my life a meaning, is to create experiences that gives people joy. But also I have a vision where I want to share where I want to be creative, create beautiful things, and share my experiences for social emotional learning, and that is through the arts, business, and philanthropy. And so when I go to schools, I tell stories, my stories and stories of others. And one thing I came to see with young people is how different each one of them get inspired differently. Why do I share stories? Because I believe our lives are shaped by the stories we hear, and our success depends on the stories we are told. And in order to change our life, and in order to expand our mind, in order to expand our imagination, each one of us to choose what kind of stories we want to bring. So when you read more about science, the stories about science, then you're going to be more on the science angle. If you read stories more about history, and also you're interested in history, then you're going to be interested in politics. If you're going to read more stories about business, then you're going to gain what is called business wisdom. So there's wisdom and knowledge we can gain in the fields of the stories we are told. And if you read a lot of stories about court cases, how to handle the cases of dispute, then you're going to be in the court, or you're going to be in the peace management, peace resolution, or, so it depends what stories, but also having an overall storytelling also have an impact on you to have like at least a general idea on how interact into different parts of the world. And so I tell stories, and one of the stories I normally share with people is about imagination. How imagination has helped me as a kid. When I face something really difficult, I will hide in my imagination. And at one point, we had survived really difficult challenges. And at that time, I remember my left toe was cut, and walking was difficult. And we were drinking our own urine in order to quench our thirst. We walked for days and we're so exhausted. And then we arrived in swampy ground. And in this swampy ground, there was a little child soldier in front of me, and then he fell in the water. And I didn't have strength to pull him up. But the soldier behind me go slowly by slowly to try to pick him. And they both drowned. So they both drowned as I watched. And as you watch two people drown, and me was the sense of guilt that I didn't do anything. But what rescued me here was the voices inside me. Hey, now that I'm survived here, I believe I've survived for a reason, and I'm going to tell these stories. And what I escaped into my imagination so that I could have a moment to breathe. So whenever I face something challenging, I try to see how can I imagine myself out of this challenge. So I discovered as a kid, using imagination can create a mental space, buy you time. And if you really know how to use it, then you can use it to solve problems. So at this moment, I jump into my imagination, and a question came into my head. Why are you always dreaming to be part of a solution in the future when you have a problem in front of you now? And that was a question. It was a deep question that I didn't know how to answer. So I asked, whatever asked me the question, a question, what is it that I can actually do now in this challenging moment? So, and the answer said, why don't you eat the leaves of that tree? If you don't die, share it with the rest. So I went and ate the leaf of the trees, and I did not die. Then others watch. Then he gave me another question. Why don't you collect the snails floating on the water? Eat, and if you don't die, share with the rest. Why don't you shoot the vultures and eat? And then from here I discovered, like, at a moment when in our imaginative state and we're able to relax and we ask ourselves questions, the solutions can show up. All our experiences, we're interconnected with how everything is. Sometimes I won't understand, but in my journey, I've experienced so many things that sometimes when I sit, I don't know how these things happen. And so from there, I learned that leadership is about asking questions. You find a challenging situation, you ask yourself questions. Deeper questions will reveal for you things beyond what we could never think of. And asking other people who can also answer the same questions. And through using the imagination and asking questions, what I discovered at that part of my journey that I can interpret now is We were not dying. The starvation that was killing most of us was not because there was no food, but it was because we had beliefs that have blinded us. So your perspective can actually blind you from opportunities. We could all be in this room that a great idea could be around us, but we could not see it. A great person that can solve so many problems could be with us, but we will not see it. And so, but when we open our perception, the challenging moment through the imagination, the question asks, open my mind. Now I have more chances to survive. In my culture, to eat snails, they don't believe that. Don't eat vultures. We cannot eat certain trees. There's so many things we could not eat because that was the belief. And so sometimes what I learned from here is, how can I stay open-minded? And when are you aware that you're open-minded in a conversation? And so what I can put out there is imagination is the creative faculty of our mind. And all of us can imagine ourselves out of different challenges. And if we can become like children that are so creative and free of worries, and they just try different things. And they've done a research, only 2% of the adults in the world have the capacity to become like a child and use their imagination, either in critical thinking or in art or in whatever field where they are in a free flow. And that's when they're able to do more. The International Youth Day is very important to me. Why? Because young people are at their utmost powerful moment. They have a lot of energy at that moment. Their thinking is so fast. They can think slow, but they can also think fast, faster than an adult. And now, there is this, you go now on YouTube, they have learned how to use AI. Now, like for the creative industry, you'll find a young person bought in the house and then just go online and create a song, make a music video with an artist that doesn't exist using an AI. And so I would say, apart from that, if you look at United States, there was a time young people put a spotlight in Darfur. Have you ever heard about Save Darfur? Now, young people did that. If you look at the universities and the colleges, they are all the ones that always come up with solution. You look at right now in Kenya, the young people went on the street to challenge the government governing institution and say, look, you guys are lost. You think we're just stuck on social media? We don't know what to do? No, this is the way we want to go. And they managed to negotiate with their government. So why do we have to celebrate young people? We have to bring stories to them. We have to not only celebrate them, but also what projects do they have? What ideas do they have? How can we listen to them more? Because in this moment, we think the old people have solutions for everything. But we live in a times where even a 5, 6, 7 years old have so much information. I don't know where they get it. They know. How can a kid know how to turn a TV on where the mom doesn't know how to do it? Now, why? How do they know how to find Netflix? Babies knows how to go on YouTube and find babies' games. So like we're in a time of information where young people knows so much. If we cannot even bring them, if we can have representative of young people in decision making in the parliament, imagine if you're in a situation where like in every parliament, every member of parliament that is elected, there's a young person elected along with them to be there, maybe and that's say to be accounted. Imagine you get like 15-year-old to 18-year-old, or maybe when you're 21, then your term is over. Now you're hungry. Yeah. So how will our world be like? So celebrating youth, the youth does not end until like 40 or 45. So I'm now 44, so I think I have one more year before I can be pushed out of the youth. So International Day of Youth is a day to celebrate, because if you look at some of the most amazing invention or the great heroes were youth, and they thrive at their 30s. Top champion boxing, you go to top scientists. Their greatest work is when they're young. If you look at Isaac Newton, who became a chairman for the science department or the union of the scientists at that time, and he was even under 30. He was still young. He was still in the college, but he was discovered he was a genius. And so young people should be celebrated. And also, the International Youth Day is a very important day for all of us to celebrate. It's very important for a young person to know what their purpose is. When a young person does not know their purpose, they get lost in the world. And when they get lost, they become empty. And the emptiness, they will fill it up with drugs, with weed, with excessive alcohol. They will fill it up with things that are toxic to themselves. And they'll be like a moving, dead person alive. That's a young person who don't know their purpose. Because your purpose gives your life a meaning in every stage of suffering. Now, your vision is what you want to bring into this world, what you want to create, the impact you want to get into this world. Your vision is that idea, is that audacious goal that you have put in place that many people can see themselves in it and benefit from it. And you'll see great returns for it. But your purpose is what you're willing to give without expectation. For example, when you volunteer for a charity, that is purpose. When you help a friend without expectation, that falls into your purpose. You walk on the street and you see someone on the street starving and you give your coin, that's a purpose. I asked a little boy one time, what feelings last longer? 20 pounds that you gave to a homeless person on the street, or if your mom bought you a Mercedes Benz? Which feeling lasts? The little boy said, for the Mercedes Benz, I'll be happy for the day and 3 days, and after 1 week, it's gone. I want another gift. But the 20 pounds that I gave could last in my heart for years. So just imagine how much joy we get by doing something positive. So it lasts. So the most happiest people on earth, the one who are happy, are those who are always giving without expecting anything in return. Some don't even have. You'll find them, they don't have much, but they'll give you a smile. They'll give you a word of advice. They share your food with you. So your purpose is anything that you do that gives you joy. Anything you do without expecting anything in return is your joy. It's your essence. It's how you want to be, how you want to live your life. It's that thing that makes you have a specific belief that no matter what it is, whether you lose or win in life, is who you become in the end that what really matters. And if you like who you become in the end, you've completely walked in your purpose. And your vision is what you want to create. There is expectation. When you don't achieve a goal, you be upset. But when you achieve a goal, you're happy. But an act of purpose is joy completely in your heart 24/7. Me, the most important thing I want to keep every day is joy in my heart. As long as my heart is filled with joy, the challenges that I've faced every day, what your purpose will do for you, it will help you face any fate that comes your way. The peril will come, the challenges will come, the hell will come your way. How you face it is what matters the most. And what will support you to face that fate is your purpose. You know, each one of us are called by the universe. You know, the coolest thing is, the science have done a research because they were so curious. And then they realized there are factors that matters, that make everything work. You have space, time, matter, and a field of energy. Some will call it God. But they went to study more. So they started picking what matter is. Inside the matter, they realized there is something called atom. There's molecular structure, there's ionic bonding, there's covalent bonding, there's these atoms, and all of them are related. So now they look inside atom, they realize there's electrons, and there's protons, and there's neutrons. But then they look deeper, they realize there's other particles that are tiny. And there's more tiny particles that breaks into energy field. So now you have, let's say when an atom disintegrates, there's gamma rays, there's X-rays, there's, all those rays. This is energy field. So nothing can either be created or destroyed, but energy transforms from one form to the other. But they started with their devices to look more. And they found an energy field that they could not go deeper beyond, but it brings everything together. And it's the creative energetic field. You could call it God or unified force field. Now, it and everything, it's constantly creating, and it knows each and every thing that is happening. Each and every plant here has a code and has got an initial thing to do. As long as it's on earth and each one has been directed to do something, a calling to action and do something. So when you look at it, each human being here on earth, we all have our own purpose. But there's something we deeply care about. And when we ignore that calling, it will impact us. It will call us. It will hold us accountable. The time when we're resting. So they did research that when you're dying, your entire body will play your history of life. And if you did nothing, it will hold you accountable. So right now, whatever you care about, if you only listen to your heart and continue to strengthen your mental capacity with knowledge, and you do it, then you're walking in your purpose. You've listened to your call. Many people are called, but not many people respond to the call. So you know what you've been called to do. What is it that makes you angry that you want to change? That is it. Because that anger is an energetic field. It has got a lot of energy that can allow you to achieve what it is. Now we could talk about Jeremy Gailey. He was angry about something. And he didn't like the wars that are happening. But he believed peace one day. And that's why Peace One Day is now formed. For those who want to know where I am, you can find me online. You can go to emmanueljal.com, just Emmanuel Jal on all social media. But if you want to see the causes I care about, you can go to www.gua-africa.org. Gua Africa.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
And also, I have a new song out called Choose Love, which I hope you can watch after this. Peace is you. Peace one day. You go.
Only you knows what you wanna give. Only you knows how you wanna live. Life is what you imagine. Imagine, imagine. Choose, choose love. Choose, choose love. Choose, choose love. Choose love. From the past I release the pain. Found beauty in the shame. Myself, no one to blame. Love my cause, my cross flame. Everybody here got something to give. Call the shots of life to live. Everybody here got story to tell. Ring the bell, bow, cast a spell. Everybody hears the meaning of life from the same source. We're defined. Everybody heart sound, man. You got the vibe, move, change design. More fire, rise higher. Got vision, your desire. More force, you're the might. Choose love, be the light. 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 Choose love, be the light.
Only you know what you wanna get. Only you know how you wanna live.
Life is what you imagine. Imagine, imagine. Choose, choose love. Choose, choose love. Choose love. Choose love.
Our stories come from us living life. Our stories come from within our minds. So choose to revel in all the light. Half full or empty, and you are right. Choose love. Choose love. Choose love. Choose love. Only you knows what you wanna give. Only you